Welcome back, YouTube. So I know we've had a rocky, not even gonna say a rocky, a very interesting last 48 hours with GameStop, AMC, and everything running, and really just giving us setting the tone for retail sentiment when it comes to investing and how they feel about the overall market and where we are now, and really the strength of the retail sector. And I really want to point out that we were tracking to have more of a 2016 bull run, but even if we take a look here at the total market cap, which we just recently got an update on that, and we're going to go over that in a moment. But for crypto, it's looking like we may have some changes in the midst of the overall market, and maybe even having the potential of a run that's comparable to 2020, 2021. What do I mean by that? Well, we're talking about the explosiveness that's going on in the crypto sector and in the retail sector, because we know typically we had they were kind of running side by side. This was right around like 2020, 2021, that year where we saw the retail sector just really explode and a bunch of new capital that came into the market. And I believe that we are positioning ourselves for something similar going forward, and potentially even some squeezes and stuff. But I'll save that for another video. But for crypto, we're going to take a look here at these numbers and get an idea as far as where they're coming from and what the position is looking like for the near future. I want to start with the overall for the last day. We are leading roughly roughly about 3-1, right? So we are roughly 73 to 70, high 74.6 across the board for long. And of course, shorts would be somewhere between 25 to 26%. So overall, we're talking about a bullish tone to the market. And, obviously you can see like some swaps are going on when it comes to liquidations. You'll see total liquidations. This is just for the top few exchanges here, but it gives us a tone of the flow overall. And we see that it's longs 2.5 to 1.8. So we're seeing those swaps across the board. But I want to talk about an indicator, because a lot of times people are looking at the overall price and say, hey, it's going sideways, or it's going down, or it's tinkering down. What does this mean overall for the coin or for the crypto? And I want to point out some really, really interesting things here, because what we have here, even on the 14-day, this is for Doge. This is a bow right here. This is creating something what you would consider like a bow or a bowl. You'll see how it's kind of cupping upward, right? From the 14-day, right? You'll see the 72 is also curving, right? So this is one of the bigger indicators I was talking about, saying that, hey, remember, if we get that 14 crossing the 72, that is a golden cross. And the last time we had the 14 cross the 72 was back here at around 8 cents or so. And of course, we ran to about 21 cents, right? And literally, the last time we crossed the 14 cross the 72, it was mostly green days. We had like over a week of nothing but green days. It didn't matter where you bought here, and you were able to turn a profit literally the next day. And the unique thing about this is we have not seen this number since the last golden cross for the 14 and 72. Even though we've had some retests, and that's going to be normal. We'll repeat this as we get higher numbers, but we have not seen these numbers again. So having another golden cross here at this point in the cycle, this is where I was saying that we can potentially get around that 39 to 45 cent range if we're repeating the return here. And obviously, if this starts to go parabolic, or if we're having spillover from a lot of the tone of the market or something like the quote unquote meme coins, then who knows? But overall, for the next leg up, that's the position that's kind of projecting here based off of the 14 and the 72. Another unique thing that I want to cover is the total points, like, because we just had a very interesting cross here. And what is this here? That's not what I want. Okay, maybe it is. So what we're looking at here is positioning ourselves that we can have on the daily here. We're seeing a very similar pattern here on the daily. And what we're seeing here is that potential here to have that cross here. But if we look at a longer indicator on the weekly, I want to show you that we just had this happen within like the last 48 hours where we had this potential of this cross here. We got a rejection here, but what we have here for the total market cap, this is overall the money that's flowing into crypto. We had a cross of the 72 and the 200, right? And let's say, okay, well, let's look and see, okay, what's the last time we had such a major indicator cross to the upside, right? Because typically what we've seen even with Dogecoin crossing to the downside, they'll have some pullback there, but typically it's not astronomical versus crossing to the upside. So the golden crosses definitely have more of an effect than the death cross, right? So even here, you'll see like some parabolic movement here just with the 14. Let me try and zoom in here. So we had some overlay, but for the most part, looks like it was parallel. But well, it touched down here actually. That is really close. I guess it's probably as close as you're going to get without like an obvious cross here. But this is even the 14 crossing the 72. You'll see the momentum that followed, and the 72 dipping into going parallel to the 200. And then, of course, we have this run here. And this is obviously just money that's flowing into. This isn't a particular coin for those of you that are watching or listening. This is just capital, right? If you're listening, we went from roughly 200 billion to around 2.479 trillion, and at the peak at around $3 trillion, right? So we're talking about a massive amount of money coming in here. So this 72 crossing the 200 is a really, really big deal for crypto, even just the amount of money coming in there. And that kind of gives you an idea of during the bear market, we don't typically have those types of indicators. But when we do, that's typically a sign that we're about to have a large amount of cash that comes into the market. And typically what happens when we have a large amount of cash that comes into the market, it gets absorbed primarily by what? The top 10 crypto. So this is an indicator that we are, despite what you may see on the shorter time frames, we're actually on track here to get some movement. And that's kind of what we're seeing here overall across the board, is that we're looking at the focusing on like some of the shorter time frames and some of the news, or like the macro news, or whether that be the things with power going on, and some of the like things with wars, things that can cause shock value to short-term time frames, that they can kind of get slapped around and you kind of lose sight of where you are in the overall cycle. And that's kind of why I want to bring this up, because if we look at some of the history, if we're looking at 2020, 2021, 2016, we're not looking at the daily candles or minute candles and stuff like that. We're looking at weeklies, monthlies, and that's kind of what tells the actual true story. I know sometimes when you're living in the moment like we are now in this point in the run, I think the numbers kind of get slapped around a little bit. So it just kind of causes that fear and panic to be pushed around. And it just kind of seems like something's going to not happen, or there's like some great resistance against it. There will be certainly some pushback, but that will certainly be at some higher numbers here once we get the things flowing here above, like around, like I said, the 22 to 25 cent range. Obviously retesting the 18 and everything is going to be important for Doge, but we have not seen anything that would lead us to believe that the run is not going to happen, or that it's over, or something like that. We are really just in a great position. This here's the weekly for Doge, and again, we've got this big push up here, which is absolutely fine. We're not closing below the 1291 on the weekly. If that were to happen, then that would be a big signal that of a bearish trend. But again, that's not even close to happening. A big push up here. We are roughly around 14 cent on the weekly, again, which is fine. Strong wicks here to that point that would indicate the next like a leg down. So absolutely fine here. The next thing would be for us closing somewhere above the 15 range. And again, this candle is still alive. This is just where it is in this moment here. We'll see where we actually end up with closing, but that's just the weekly here. We can take a look here on the day, and similar price action. You're getting more details though, but we're pretty much bouncing off of that 15. And the next thing will obviously be to close in this zone here. And I believe that we're going to get that relatively soon. Now that we have the 72 crossing the 200 on total market cap, that's typically a big indicator for capital flowing into the market. So I'm going to be releasing some videos here, kind of breaking down what's going on in the market here. So if you have not subscribed to the channel or have your notifications turned on, please do. We're going to talk about the influx of cash and GameStop, AMC, all that stuff coming into the market, the great repositioning that we're seeing here, how to protect yourself, all those good things, taking profits, all that fun stuff that I know a lot of you guys have questions about. So make sure that your notification bell is turned on. You're subscribed to the channel if you found value, and help us get to 100,000 subs before Bitcoin gets to 100,000, because we're definitely going there this run. So if you can do that, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.